Hello, I am Laura Barnett and welcome to The Attic, where I write. I am broadcasting live from my attic writing room for the hashtag whereiwrite campaign as part of Hachette's brilliant idea with Periscope. So this is the first time I've used it, so forgive me if I go astray in any way, but mainly I'm marvelling at how unbelievably unflattering the iPhone is when you film yourself, but there we go. Anyway, so as I say, welcome to The Attic, which is where I write. I will give you a tour, show you where I find my inspiration, where I sit and write, where I spend a lot of my time, and then I will read a little bit from my first novel, The Versions of Us, which is out on the 4th of June, published by the lovely and brilliant Weidenfeld and Nicholson. Right, I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to show you. So, here is The Attic. This is where I write. It's a nice and sunny day, so you may have some trouble focusing in, but I will show you around. So, firstly, I'm slightly loath to show you the room that I join into, because currently it's full of absolute rubbish because we're having some building work done, but here we go. So it's at the top of the house, we come in, that's aka the attic, as I said. Over here we have my board of inspiration, shall we say. So up here I have framed a printout of the cover of The Versions of Us, which I really love, I'm really excited about, so I've put it up there. And here I have some framed images of mock-up pages from G2. Now this is something I was given when I left The Guardian. I was on staff at The Guardian for about 4 years, and I still write for The Guardian and love all my colleagues there very much. And any journalist watching this will know that there is a brilliant tradition that when a journalist leaves the paper or goes on to pastures new, they will tend to make a sort of mock-up G2 or whatever the publication is for them. So there's a lot of sort of funny jokes here. This is an article I did where Stuart Rose from Marks and Spencer's, as he was then, actually took me shopping. So there we go. That's me with dark hair and a fringe, which was a very bad look. I really don't know why I went for that. That's me meditating. There we go. And here's me walking with some very great friends of mine, Sarah, Homer and Nicole, down the street near King's Place for an article that I really can't remember why we did that. I think it must have been quite a slow news day. Anyway, here is a large bookcase from IKEA that you may recognise. And on here I have all my paperwork and bits and bobs and a printer and books that variously have inspired me. Here are some proof copies of The Versions of Us. Sorry, my knees just clicked in a really quite embarrassing and old woman-y kind of fashion, but there we go. So yeah, we have the proofs here. A lovely edition that we did just before Christmas, the blue one and the first one, and also advice from the players, you can just see on the left, which was my first non-fiction book and came out last year. Over here, photograph of me on my wedding day. That's my husband Andy and his kilt. He is Scottish, he wasn't just wearing it for fun. And down here, me and my grandma on the day that I graduated from Clare College, Cambridge, which actually does feature in The Versions of Us, as those of you who haven't read it yet will hopefully discover. Over here, some of the books that have most inspired me, a whole stack of Anne Tyler's. I just adore her. So I have loads of others. I think I've lent them to friends. I don't quite know where they've gone. Over here, these are books that I'm currently reading for the book that I'm working on at the moment, which is called Greatest Hits. And it's quite early days with it, so I'm not going to say too much about it. But as you can probably tell from the theme here, we've got a book about Joni Mitchell, Annie Lennox, Marianne Faithfull, a book of Robert Frost poems, which actually isn't strictly relevant, but there we go. And Matt Haig's brilliant new book, Reasons to Stay Alive, and Songwriters on Songwriting. It is about a musician, a singer-songwriter, and she's in her 60s and she's looking back on her life. And I won't tell you why the Matt Haig is relevant, because hopefully you'll find out when you read it. More wedding pictures, me and my dear mum, Jan, other books that I've loved on there, or that I'm going to read, and the same here. Over here we have my beloved reading chair, which I picked up, I'm glad to say, for only £30 from the market in Crystal Palace, where I live in South East London. And up here we have, I hope you can see it because it is quite shiny, but we have 2 owls riding a bicycle. And this is a present I was given by my mother-in-law when I heard that The Versions of Us was going to be published, because as you may have guessed from the number of bicycles that are relevant to the cover and that appear inside, the bicycle is quite a key thing in the Versions of Us, and I won't give away why that is for anyone who hasn't read it yet, which is probably most people because it's not out yet. Over here we have a little load of candles. I like a candle, relaxes me, sorts me out when I'm feeling stressed. We have a sign that you probably can't see which says "Don't worry, be happy." That was from my mum. She knows me well. And this is my view. Some trees. We haven't been living here that long, so I'm not entirely sure what kind of tree that is, but I suspect it might be an apple tree. Grass that needs cutting. You may or may not be able to see the pair of foxes that normally arrive in the morning and just lie out on the grass and sunbathe all day. Over here, another board of inspiration with notes from authors that I admire and friends and family that just keep me going. And this is my desk. So it's quite small, as you can see. It's actually a bureau that my grandfather owned, my dad's dad. He was Scottish, like my husband, which I don't really know why I'm telling you that, but there we go. And I love working at a desk that my grandfather owned. It makes me feel really connected to him. He passed away a couple of years ago, but well, actually quite a few years ago now. But so I have this as a connection with him. And as I say, it's not large, but I actually sat all my A-levels studying at this desk, so it's done me well over the years. Thank you very much, Robert Harper. That's very sweet of you. Up here, various little objects. That actually is my grandfather, whose bureau this was, on the right-hand side, with the glasses. And that's my grandma, and that's me. Very, very small. I think that was a trip to the Cotswolds. Now, from what I remember, that may well have been an occasion on which I was chased by a goose, which I think was actually quite a freaky experience at the age of 5. Amazing what comes out when you think about it. There's an owl that my mum gave me, a clock that has stopped at 5 to 9. Better sort that out. This teacup was owned by my great aunt. She gave it to me. She collected china. And this is a print that I found yesterday in Oxford in the amazing Blackwell's bookshop. And it really made me laugh. It says, "That's not writing, that's typing." Because a colleague, when I worked at the Telegraph, I was doing some writing early in the morning and then coming into work. And I remember I was only about 23 or something, and I came in and I was so excited because I'd written 1,000 words in a couple of hours or something. And I came in and I said to this colleague, "Oh, can you believe I wrote all these words? Thank you very much that you like it. I'm glad to hear it." And he said, "That's not writing, that's typing." And I hadn't actually realised that this was a Truman Capote quote, so I've rumbled him now. Anyway, there we go. More postcards and various bits and bobs to inspire me when I'm sitting there. And over here we have another wall of inspiration. Now these are my corkboards that I use when I'm writing. As you can tell, it's quite early days with Greatest Hits, so I haven't covered them too fully yet, but you can see again all the music connections. So down here we've got the brilliant PJ Harvey, David Bowie, John Lennon. We've got Kate Bush with her amazing hair, Marianne Faithfull, and then up here we've got David Byrne, who I love. I actually walked down the aisle to a Talking Heads track. Well, actually it was David Byrne. And here are the managers of The Who, the amazing Sandy Denny. Barney Hoskins has just released a biography of her, which I really am going to get hold of. And John Renbourn, who was an amazing folk musician and many of you will know passed away recently. So that is my room. The brown carpet is just horrible. That's going to go at some point. This rug is from the Isle of Mull, where I go on holiday every year with family. I really love it. And over here, yeah, not to forget, I have a trunk which I picked up recently in a vintage shop in Crystal Palace. We're really spot for choice with them. Now here I have a pile of books that I'm going to read, including Coastlines by my colleague Patrick Barkin, which was just out last week. That looks amazing. I picked up this trunk because I really love this. Sorry, it's gone a bit shaky, but I loved this this writing on it, which hopefully you can see. And it says that this trunk was once owned by Lieutenant Colonel R.L. Whitmore, R.A., 2 Harbour Cottages, Bosham, Sussex. Or, I hope that's how you say it, Chichester. As a writer, I guess I am fascinated by old objects, especially ones that have a story like that. So if anyone has any idea who Lieutenant Colonel R.L. Whitmore was, I would be really delighted to know. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like the trunk. That miniature bottle of champagne with the sort of decaying rose, that is the bottle that my husband bought me when we found out that my book was going to be published. At Bear Fiction, it is, I have to say, I am a bit of a neat freak, although I will admit to having tidied up a little bit, having known that I would be broadcasting. So it is more or less this neat, I have to say. I do quite like my tidiness. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sit down at my computer. Now you can see I'm currently looking over the page proofs for the versions of us because we're just putting the final touches to it. I'm going to see me again. I'm going to put my phone down. Let me know if you can't see me or it's too bright or something. And I'm going to read to you from the versions of us. This is it. Hopefully you've seen it or will see it soon. This is a novel, well, it's my first novel. It's published on the 4th of June. It's pretty much the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me. I hope my husband won't mind me saying that too much, because all I've ever wanted to do really since I was about 5 is write fiction, and that is really what I've been doing, but to get it published is over and beyond anything that I could really have hoped for. So it's a love story told in 3 different ways. Thank you very much, that's very sweet of you to give me congratulations, thank you. It's about a couple called Eva and Jim, and they first meet, or not, I won't give too much away, but they first meet in Cambridge in 1958, and we then see 3 different versions of their love affair play out across the years from 1958 to the present day. So I'm going to read to you from the first version of their meeting. So just let me find my place and I will read to you. So version 1, Puncture, Cambridge, October 1958. Later, Eva will think, if it hadn't been for that rusty nail, Jim and I would never have met. The thought will slip into her mind, fully formed, with a force that will snatch her breath. She'll lie still, watching the light slide around the curtains, considering the precise angle of her tire on the rutted grass, the nail itself, old and crooked, the small dog snouting the verge, failing to heed the sound of gear and tire. She had swerved to miss him, and her tire had met the rusty nail. How easy, how much more probable would it have been for none of these things to happen? But that will be later, when her life before Jim will already seem soundless, drained of colour, as if it had hardly been a life at all. Now, at the moment of impact, I think you're starting to see why the bicycle is relevant here. Anyway, that's just an authorial aside. There is only a faint tearing sound and a soft exhalation of air. Damn, Eva says. She presses down on the pedals, but her front tyre is jittering like a nervous horse. She brakes, dismounts, kneels to make her diagnosis. The little dog hovers penitently at a distance, barks as if in apology, then scuttles off after its owner, who is, by now, a good deal ahead, a departing figure in a beige trench coat. There is the nail, lodged above a jagged rip, at least 2 inches long. Eva presses the lips of the tear, and air emerges in a hoarse wheeze. The tyre's already almost flat. She'll have to walk the bicycle back to college, and she's already late for supervision. Professor Farley will assume she hasn't done her essay on the 4 quartets, when actually it has kept her up for 2 full nights. It's in her satchel now, neatly copied, 5 pages long, excluding footnotes. She is rather proud of it, was looking forward to reading it aloud, watching old Farley from the corner of her eye as he leant forward, twitching his eyebrows in the way he does when something really interests him. Scheisse, Eva says. In a situation of this gravity, only German seems to do. Are you all right there? She is still kneeling, the bicycle weighing heavily against her side. She examines the nail, wonders whether it would do more harm than good to take it out. She doesn't look up. Fine, thanks, it's just a puncture. The passer-by, whoever he is silent. She assumes he has walked on, but then his shadow, the silhouette of a man, hatless, reaching into his jacket pocket, begins to shift across the grass towards her. Do let me help. I have a kit here. That's me reading from the beginning of the versions of us. I think I have detained you for too long on Periscope. Thank you so much for watching me and joining me in the attic, aka #whereiwrite, and have a wonderful Friday and a lovely weekend.